The government restates a resolve to sustain partnership with the church for enhanced development. Magistrate Court grants over £500,000 bail to 6 persons being prosecuted by Abia State government for illegal revenue collection. Amnesty International hit hard on federal government over its inability to rescue remaining Chibok girls 9 years after abduction. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine troops withdraw from Bakhmut as Russia renews bombardments. Before the news in detail, here's a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround, maintenance of the Anambra State economy, and the promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good evening. Glad to have you on the news tonight. My name is Chidima Orangwa. The Chief of Staff to the Governor of Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, Mr. Ernest Ezadri, has restated the present administration's resolve to sustain its partnership with the church for enhanced development. Speaking at Emmanuel Parish, Obo, Orumba North Local Government Area, during the inauguration of Obo Opers, Archdeaconry, also known as Good News Archdeaconry, and the induction and institution of Venerable Distancy Chine as its pioneer Archdeacon, Mr. Ezadri charged the church to be alive to its responsibilities, especially in improving the moral tone of the society. We have details of this report from our studio.
Mr. Ezadri, who is an indigene of Obu community, thanked the Anglican Bishop of Agwata Diocese, Right Reverend Samuel Ezofo, for elevating the area to an archdeaconry headquarters and reassured the Anambra that Governor Soludo is committed to improving their living standards, urging them to continue with their support for the administration.
So the relationship between church and the government is a long-established relationship. So we have been working very hard to have that collaboration and partnership with the church, because we want to get a very better society.
Earlier in his sermon, Bishop Ezofo, who said that the purpose of creating an archdeaconry is for rapid growth of the gospel, especially in the rural areas, described the spread of the gospel in a contemporary society as challenging and cost-effective, and called for a serious synergy between the clergy and the laity to achieve the needed result. He charged those in positions of trust to maintain the pride and dignity of such positions, warning them against acts of compromise.
To encourage them to be strong and do their work. The major work is the work of evangelism, to make sure that the gospel is taken to all those areas that the archdeacon covers, and the strength and grace of God will be with them.
In a remark, Venerable Chine, who is also the Clerical Senior Secretary of Agwata Diocese, while expressing appreciation to God for the elevation, promised to live up to the expectations.
So I prayed that this archdeaconry will find favor before the bishop and the entire global world. We plan to have a secondary school in this compound. We plan to equip this office in a digital manner so that the young girls and young boys will learn information communication technology. By the time they leave Obo, maybe after 12 years, they will become computer and digital compliant.
The State Accountant General Sachukwude Okoli, the Commissioner of Education Professor Ngozi Chumude, and the pioneer president of Agwata Diocese Council of Nine, Sir Isaiah Ezezika, described the event as remarkable and charged the people of the area to pull up their resources together for the growth of the new archdeaconry. The event, attended by the state chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Abga Sanobatobi, the president of Agwata Diocese Women's Ministry, Mrs. Chinyere Ezofo, a philanthropist, Chief Walter Chibo, among others, featured administration of oath of canonical obedience and allegiance by the diocesan legal team on the new archdeacon, cutting of cake and dedication of new facilities within the church premises by Bishop Ezofo.
As part of its commitment to sustainably pursue the agenda for a livable and prosperous homeland, Anambra State Governor has removed the unapproved projecting structures at Building Materials International Market Ogidi in Idemili North Local Government Area. A joint government task force, including officials of the Anambra State Physical Planning Board, embarked on the removal exercise. Correspondent Ejike Abana has details of this report.
When the ABS arrived at the site, it was observed that additional structures had been attached to the ones already approved by the state government, mostly built on or attached to EEDC high-tension transmission cable poles. According to the chairman of Anambra State Fiscal Planning Board, Barrister Chike Maduekwe, the market situated along Enugu-Onitsha Expressway is well planned, and the impunity of indiscriminate building of structures cannot be allowed to continue within the market. Barrister Maduekwe, who warned that the Governor Chukwuma Soludo-led administration remains intolerant to lawlessness and recklessness, tasked well-meaning Ndi Anambra to help government by obtaining approvals before embarking on any kind of development. He affirmed that the board will continue to enforce development control within the state in accordance with the law of the state and Governor Soludo's manifesto, stressing that the developers will bear the costs of the demolition exercise or go to jail.
I want to beg Ndi Anambra, it is the will of Governor Soludo that Anambra will be a livable, healthy, green, prosperous state. You can't have prosperity when you endanger the lives of traders and those who come to trade here or who want to buy things. So this one, we have taken out all the additions they have put in the building materials for them, and some other places they have blocked the roads.
An EEDC staff in charge of compliance and monitoring in the area who spoke to the ABS on the condition of anonymity said that the EEDC had written to market leadership to draw their attention to the dangers of building on the high tension, but they remained recalcitrant. He described the action by the state government as commendable and should be sustained. In a related development, the Joint Government Task Force also performed enforcement on a blocked access road in Regina Nwankwo Street, Government Residential Area, Onitsha, where a private developer erected a gate on an access road servicing various buildings. Fences were maliciously built by the developer, blocking the gates and leaving the individual houses uninhabited for many years. The Joint Task Force also removed a fence and building encroaching on a government land at Abaka GRA, Onitsha, among other places. Ejike Abana, ABS News.
A magistrate court sitting in Amobia has granted the bail to the tune of 100,000 naira each to 6 persons being prosecuted by the Anambra State government for illegal revenue collection. The 6 persons were arraigned before the magistrate court for touting activities, impersonation and collection of illegal revenue and tax returns in Oka, Onitsha and Abagana, among others. Correspondent Chibuzo Obidike reports.
According to the magistrates, the crime is a bailable offense and gave them the bail bond of 100,000 naira each, a reliable surety with valid means of identification, and adjourned the case to May 2nd, 2023 for hearing. Speaking on behalf of the Managing Director, Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra Ocha Brigade, Comrade Celestine Anere, the Public Relations Officer of the agency, Mr. Anthony Abwefune, said they have intensified the push to rid the state of touts and miscreants, impersonating IGR officials and operating illegal revenue collectors in most parks within the state. According to Comrade Anere, the arraignment will serve as a deterrent to others about collecting tax and issuing fake receipts and tickets to motorists and traders. He pointed out that the agency is working tirelessly to fish out others who are currently at large, and expressed optimism that the command will continue to engage security agencies to ensure the arrest of all and as well bring sanity to the state. Some of the suspects, including Mr. Agunkwo Omelora, Somto Obala, and Kinsley Peter, all pleaded not guilty to the alleged crime. From Amobia in Oka South Local Government Area, Chibuzo Bidike, ABS News.
Leadership of various communities in Anambra State have been charged to make security of life and property a priority. The Commissioner of Police in Anambra State, Mr. Echeng, who gave the charge at Nogo in Dinikofe local government area during the inauguration of a refurbished security van donated to the community by the Anambra State government, described security of life and property as key sustainable to development. We have details of this report from our studio.
The commissioner, who was represented by the divisional police officer in charge of Dunkofe local government area, Mr. Efyong Nda, commended the leadership of Development Union under Prince Frank Nwebu for achieving the feat and called on other communities whose security vehicles are no longer functional to emulate them. Mr. Echeng used the opportunity to charge those entrusted with security of life and property to desist from compromising with crime and criminality, reminding them of the need to synergize with the police and other professional security outfits to achieve more results.
You should not do what? Compromise crime. If in any case you arrest anybody, you arrest him, hand him over to the police. What did I say? Hand him over to the police. Don't release and collect money. You will spoil this outfit. Is that okay? Yes, sir. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Don't compromise crime.
In an address, the President General of NOG Development Union, Prince Nwebu, said the transformation of NOG Vigilante Group is part of efforts of the Town Union government aimed at improving the living standards of the people of the community and called for the support of the people of the area to realize the set objectives. Prince Nwebu promised to key into the programs and policies of Governor Chukwuma Soludo, maintained that the Vigilante Group of the community will be organized while various trainings will be introduced for them for effective service delivery in line with the ideologies of the Soludo administration.
Very many initiatives of NOG Development Union for the transformation of NOG Town. Through the movement of these able-bodied men for the security of lives and property in NOG, the fight against crimes and criminality is a collective duty. All hands must be on deck in this fight across the country.
The chairman on the occasion is also the immediate past President General of NOG Development Union, Chief Bartholomew Okeke, while describing security as a collective responsibility, commended the President General of the community, Prince Nwebu, for all his efforts aimed at bringing rapid development to the community and reassured him of his support. The woman leader of the community, Mrs. Josephine Nwafo, and the one-time President General of the community, Chief Emmanuel Ilozue, said that for the new executive of NOG Development Union to achieve the feat within 3 months means that more good things are being expected and called for prayers to enable them to succeed. In a vote of thanks, one of the village heads in Nog community, Chief Pius Odume, said that the refurbishing of the security van will ensure effective patrol by the vigilante group in various areas of the community. Highlight of the event was the cutting of tape by a representative of the Commissioner of Police, flanked by other security heads and parade by a detachment of Nog vigilante group.
Still on the news tonight, some Nemo indigents have staged a protest against the leadership of Nemo Town Union, NTDU, following an alleged illegal sale of portions of vast expanse of land of the community. The land identified as Anowa had some portion of it, according to the protesters, being sold to the tune of 900 million naira to non-indigents without approval, accountability, and or accruing benefits to the community. Correspondent Joseph Iwacha has details.
Speaking to newsmen at Nemo, the leader of the protesters and former chairman of Lagos branch of Nemo Town Development Union, Barrister Chuks Okonkwo, explained that the arbitrary sale of the Nemo Commonwealth was not in the interest of sustainable development of the community, adding that all efforts by concerned citizens to stop the action yielded no result. He noted that the protesters are committed to sustainable peace in Nemo community and that the protest was to prevent descent to anarchy and to ensure that principles of good governance hold sway in the community. Barrister Okonkwo further alleged that widows at Oyenimo Market were dispossessed of their means of livelihood and their rented shops given out to the rich by the leadership of the town union.
We can reliably confirm that part of the place was sold to somebody from outside Nemo. And then in all this, you cannot see a reflection of the income that has come into town in any part of Nemo.
Contributing, a 76-year-old man from the community, Mr. Donatus Nkeshi, alleged that dissenting voices over the illegal actions in the community were silenced.
I am not sure. I will bus stop now. You go and you will get it all with a POS. JG or some non Nemo. This is an Nemo. When I on the money and I bus stop.
The protesters also alleged other administrative lapses against the leadership, alleging that machinery of the town union is being used to brazenly breach fundamental rights of Nemo indigenes, customs and traditions. Reacting, the National Secretary of Nemo Town Development Union, Mr. Patrick Ebebalo, said the allegations against the leadership of the community were unfounded, as the decision to develop the said land was taken by Nemo General Assembly as far back as 2012. He reminded the protesters that there are channels of communication to follow and get clarification on issues, insisting that carrying on with the decision of Nemo General Assembly cannot be taken as illegal. Contributing, the traditional ruler of Nemo, Igwe Maxi Oliobi, who also saw the protesters as trying to cause problem in Nemo, called on those alleging illegalities to ask relevant questions to authorities for clarifications, adding that his reign in Nemo has been peaceful.
I want to cause confusion, because if you look at them, they are confusionists. I'm advising them, to pedal down. If there are questions they need to ask, they know where to get the information. We have the NTD Secretariat. There is a Wellness Palace.
Despite notice of peaceful protest and requests for police protection by concerned citizens of Nemo community, heavy presence of a combined team of security operatives, including the army, police, and civil defense, disrupted the protest and later stationed at strategic places in the community. Meanwhile, an indigene of Nemo, Ms. Ugochukwu Onyeka, alleged that one of the security operatives deployed to the community over the protest seized her mobile phone while she was taking photos, and according to a reliable source, it is not certain that the said phone has been released to the owner after the protest and as at the time of filing this report. In Oka, Joseph Ebocha reporting for ABS News.
And from our national desk, Amnesty International says Nigerian's government failure to rescue 98 over 276 students abducted by Boko Haram at a girls' school in Chibok 9 years after shows that the government is unable to protect children. Amnesty International said that since the Chibok schoolgirls were abducted by Boko Haram, a plethora of schools have been targeted, with girls being abducted, raped, killed, or forced into marriages. The Nigerian authorities said it have not, and however, carried out a single credible investigation into the security failures that left children vulnerable to the atrocities committed by Boko Haram and gunmen. Between December 2020 and March 2021, there have been at least 5 reported cases of abductions in northern Nigeria, including from schools at Kagara, Janegbe, Dimishi, Kaduna, Tegina, and Yawuri, while the threat of further attacks had led to the closure of over 600 schools in the north of the country. Parents of Chibok girls who are still being held by Boko Haram told Amnesty International that the Nigerian authorities no longer communicate with them and have ultimately abandoned them. Since February 2021, northern regions of Nigeria have suffered repeated attacks on schools and religious institutions. Of the more than 780 children who have been adopted for ransom, more than 61 children are still being held in captivity 2 years after they were abducted by gunmen. Many schools in the region were shut and remain closed due to rising insecurity. On the foreign scene, Ukrainian troops have been withdrawn from the areas of Bakhmut amid a renewed Russian assault and resupply issues. A Ukrainian defense official acknowledged the heavy fighting gripped all parts of the eastern city, saying Moscow's forces launched 40 to 50 storming operations and 500 shelling episodes. Joseph Borrell, the European Union's foreign policy chief, said it would be difficult, if not impossible, for Europe to trust China if Beijing did not try to find a solution to the war. During a visit to China, German foreign minister urged Beijing to ask the Russian aggressor to stop the war in Ukraine, saying no other country has more influence on Russia. And on the sporting scene, a professional footballer in Tunisia has died after setting himself ablaze earlier this week in what he said was a protest against the police state ruling the country, his brother told the press today. Nazar Izawe, 35, suffered third-degree burns from his actions in the village of Hafos in the central region of Kaiwan. He was taken from hospital in Kaiwan to the specialist burn hospital in Tunis, but doctors were unable to save his life, the brother said. Izawe's protest recalled that of a street vendor, Mohamed Bouazizi, who burned himself to death on December 17, 2010, sparking the Tunisian revolution that was the trigger for the Arab Spring upspringing, which toppled authoritarian regimes across the Middle East. News of Izawe's death has sparked protests in the streets of Hafos yesterday, Tunisian media reported. Young demonstrators hurled stones to police, who responded with tear gas. There were no immediate comments from the authorities. And that's just about it on the news tonight. But before we go, a quick reminder that you can follow news and programs from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube page at ABS Television Oka. Follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And now the main points again. Anambra State government has restated resolve to sustain partnership with the church for enhanced development. Magistrate Court has granted over $500,000 bail to 6 persons being prosecuted by Anambra State government for illegal revenue collection. Amnesty International has hit hard on the federal government over its inability to rescue remaining Chibok girls 9 years after abduction. And on the foreign scene, we also told that Ukrainian troops have withdrawn from Bakhmut as Russia renews bombardments. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and the promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the tax ahead. And that's it on the news tonight. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Chidimma Orangwa. Good night.